Today we received the official College Football 25 gameplay deep dive on May 31st, 2024, man. And it's an exciting time because they gave us so much detail in it. And I'm gonna leave a link to the video down below because I want you guys to watch that in its entirety on its own. But specifically this video, we're gonna be talking about the 5 takeaways from College Football 25 gameplay deep dive, man. And these are things that I noticed off the rip that really makes it stand out for me personally. And I also wanted to point those out to you and see what you thought of it as a community. So the first things first is we're going to talk about the speed of stick work and the overall movement, man. The first thing we got a chance to see in the trailer is the Doak Walker Award winner in Ollie Gordon II with his hesitation spin move in the beginning of the trailer. It's probably the cleanest spin move we've seen in the previous Maddens, college footballs that we've seen to date. And I don't know if that was tied to an ability, which we'll talk about that later in the video. But outside of that, just seeing the speed of him hitting the move and then continuing to run and create that separation. Typically in the past, when we've seen a spin move, it's always slowed the runner down to give the defense a chance to catch up. And it's good that they've added that violent running into the game. Another thing I wanted to go ahead and point out are the defensive backs foot planting and breaking on the ball. It appears to be more explosive and given that true lockdown defender feeling on that side of the ball. Obviously they added the switch stick as well, which is where you can flick up on the stick. I believe it's the right stick and it'll go to the nearest defender that you're trying to get to the ball. But outside of that, seeing some of the clips that we're getting with the defenders being able to plant, drive on the ball and get downhill for the pick or the swat or whatever they want to do and just make a play in general, I think that's something that's really good. Something that I've told EA in feedback anytime I've had a chance to be in the Reddits or things of that nature is that the game needs to feel more violent, which is like either faster, quicker, whatever the case may be. It just needs to feel more violent, and that's just an example right there with the foot planting and getting downhill defensively. Another thing that I wanted to point out is the acceleration of top rated players looked really good, and it looks like they had an advantage with their first step. If you looked at the clip of Donovan Edwards running in multiple scenes, they literally have his running style. Now, I'm not gonna put any clips of him specifically running because of copyright reasons, but if you go and look at that and compare it to what it was in the trailer, man, the running that he has looks so aggressive. He was actually sliding, trying to create that separation, but it wasn't overpowered. It just looks like he has that true first step for somebody who's high rated as he is. Now, of course, we do know that they removed X factors and they brought back abilities, but there was one clip specifically, which is a running back from the California Golden Bears, and he had an ability called downhill, which allows players to break off a tackle and then gain their speed a lot faster than most other players. And so I think that's going to be really cool to have slight abilities like that aren't too crazy, but just enough to create that separation, and it looked really good too. Now, getting into the number 2 thing that I noticed in this gameplay deep dive is the player likeness, man. And of course, we did get to see a clear image of Travis Hunter, and I'm gonna have that coming across the screen for you guys. And let's just acknowledge this from EA. This is the first time in video game history that we actually have player likeness in a college game. So that's something we really have to go ahead and take into account with EA, because keep in mind, they have over 10,000 players in this game because there's over 134 teams, and each of those teams most likely has 82 to 85 plus players on a team. So with that, guys, man, it's cool to see players who have dreads or long hair outside the back of the helmet, those details coming into play. Now, that's barring if any of these guys get a cut during the summer and they come back shaved bald. Hey, look, I'm not counting that, but as far as the guys who you know have dreads, typically they're gonna be in the game, or guys who have that wavy hair coming out the back of the helmet, they're gonna be there. And I think that's something that's really cool to see, that attention to detail in a college game when they really don't have to give us that. In the past, what would happen is people would just create those rosters themselves and just update it for everybody else to download. And now that we have access to that off rip, that's really cool. Another thing that I wanted to take note of is just the stadiums in the game, man. Obviously, they're bringing back the stadium pulse and that home field advantage that you're really gonna see, which is cool that mental abilities are gonna be tied to that as well. So that's another thing that we still have to talk about. But just cycling through the trailer, you notice how stadiums like the Cotton Bowl in Dallas, Texas looks really good, which the devs have already noted that they understood that the community wanted the stadium for OU versus Texas to be striped pretty much down the middle. So it's going to be one side crimson and one side burnt orange. And I think that's really good that they're already taking note of that from this trailer that they just dropped, along with Penn State having the whiteout. Obviously they missed on that in the trailer, but it's good that they've already taken note of that, and they're going to bring that back for us. That way we can see it on our end more consistently. And for the small guys out there, we can't sleep on them because they got some ballers over there too. You got a chance to see Sam Houston State Stadium, Texas State Stadium. So that's really cool. And although they got Texas State Stadiums wrong, they could easily fix over time. And once again, the trailer that they showed to us was not the final version of the game, and they are still trying to add more and more detail to this. And the fact that we're getting this still in May when the game doesn't come out till July, I feel like they're going to get a lot of this stuff fixed. Now, number 3 is the playbooks opening up the field. Look, there was one example when I was watching OU versus Texas, and OU had double receivers stacked near the sideline, forcing the defense to adjust accordingly, and it left huge isolation opportunities for the run game. And I think that's something that's really cool to see, that we didn't have anything like that in Madden just readily accessible all the time. You may could have found it in certain playbooks, but as far as like knowing OU will be a team that can have stacked doubles near the sideline to really get your run game going if you need to, or teams like Air Force having speed out of the option even though they aren't traditionally a high rated team. When we watch those clips, a lot of those players are still going to be able to perform because of the playbook and the nature of those players being fit for that playbook. So I thought that was something that was really cool, and I definitely want to know from your opinion in the comment section, what did you think of seeing some of the plays happening live on this trailer? Now, the next thing I want to go ahead and get into is player abilities. I'm going to have a screenshot of all of the player abilities that we know so far, which that doesn't mean this is all of them. It's so cool to see abilities like ball hawk, 360, downhill, things of that nature. And so far from what we've seen, they don't look overpowered. Now, the one that I will say that alarmed some people in the community already is Field General, because of its ability when it gets to the platinum level to be able to quickly ID blitzes for a certain period of time, so you have to make an adjustment as a defender. But outside of that though, I think that's really cool to know, like there are abilities like that, but they don't last the whole time. Like it's not like an X Factor where you get it and you're keeping that for 5, 6 or 7 plays, and then you're only getting it for a situational time. So it may be a 2nd and 5 situation, and that boost lights up for you and you get to use it then. I think one of the cooler abilities that I saw was ball hawk. I think there were several examples of it with the USC DB going to hawk the ball down, and then of course that Kansas DB going after it too. It's such a good look to just see that in the game, and it got me excited overall. And last but not least, it's just stadium pulse, man. Seeing the rank of certain places to play is a really cool touch, along with EA confirming that there are going to be stadium traditions in the game with certain theme songs. So whether you're playing Seven Nation Army, Zombie Nation, whatever the case may be, those will be in the game, and even Mo Bamba for certain schools that still play that song. So I think that's something that's really cool. Some honorable mention things I wanted to talk about was like the coaches cam, where you can actually see the wear and tear actively. You can also see composure ratings, and then knowing that if you have a true freshman on the field, they're not going to perform like a senior who's seasoned or somebody who's just been in the game a little bit longer overall. So outside of that, guys, I just wanted to make a quick video just going over 5 takeaways that I took from the trailer in its entirety. I thought it was a really cool look that they released so much information for us, and we could really dive deep into this. And this isn't all of it. We're literally about to have a dynasty blog coming soon, probably in the next few weeks or maybe next week. But I definitely want to know from you guys in the comment sections, what do you think of this? And also, if you want to see more content, be sure to like, subscribe, turn on those notifications, man, because we're going to have this college football content coming all year. I'm so excited for this game, man. And I just want to know from you guys, what do you think after getting this information? Is it just another Madden reskin? And hey, man, for me personally, I enjoyed Madden. So it's one of those things, I'm not necessarily an NFL fan, but if I'm in college and I can play a version of Madden, but this is going to be better, I'm not mad at it. But tell me what you think, and hey, I'll see you in the next one.